Welcome to the 100th episode of Cartoon Dumpster Dive. Joel, we've done it.
We have, Andrew. We've made it.
We've made 100 of these things. Technically, I've made 100 of these. You've only made 99.
Get off your horse.
Because of that one episode where I got James on. It's the only reason I did it, as a matter of fact.
Get off your
so
horse.
I can say, this is my 100th episode. You can have your special episode later.
You rat bastard.
So welcome to my 100th episode of Cartoon Dumpster Dive.
Welcome to apparently my 99th episode. I'll celebrate my 100th episode next episode.
We get like confetti.
Just
and but no one will see it.
I'll get that just very sad potty blower sound.
Yeah. But we thought this episode would be a good time to look back.
Yeah.
It's actually over 100 cartoons that we have covered, because sometimes we cover 2 in a Junkyard Brawl.
Correct. And even with some of our specials that we've done.
Yeah, specials. We do movies. So,
yep.
And I figured it would be, we figured it would be a great idea to do a top 5 and worst 5 of all the things that we've done. These are like cream of the crop and then crop of the crap. I don't know what the opposite of cream of the crop is.
So are we not doing the reboot?
No, that's what I mean. There'll be like shows we want to see rebooted.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was really worried. I was about to be like, the list I have does not reflect what I think are the best cartoons.
Just the ones that are worth the most of a reboot. Mine is kind of both, because if you like it so much, you'd obviously want them to do more of it.
So mine is interesting. I took a very interesting approach to mine. I actually thought, I thought about my list, and I thought about maybe what story in the cartoon that I like so much. Well, maybe the first version of it was terrible.
Okay. I got you. So you're like, this is a diamond in the rough. There's something there.
Yeah, and see, maybe Deke just did the animation and killed it, and
that's okay.
So that's my approach.
Okay, so the way I did it, I was like, I like these, and I want to see more of them, so I want them to have a reboot. Mine is a kind of selfish
mine's
approach to a top 5.
I'll go and tell you, mine's kind of a split between that. Like, some of them you can tell mine were like, yeah, he just enjoyed that so much, he wants more of it.
For the worst 5, I feel like we're on the same page. They're just bad.
Yeah. No one should come in
no one should revisit, nor should we ever try to make
correct
it into something.
I think I'll have a couple on my I called them cartoons worthy of a reboot and cartoons that should stay in the trash.
That's what we'll call them.
I got some that should stay in the trash on my list that I know a lot of people will be mad at me for having this on my list. They will be like, why?
All right. So let's kick it off. 5 being the...
Well, didn't you want to talk about, I guess, like, theme songs?
Oh, right. I did mention that. We need to talk about, out of all 100 of the theme songs we've heard over the past 100 or so episodes, which one do you like the best, Joel?
All right, Andrew. I thought about this a lot. There was some.
I knew immediately which one I liked the best.
Okay.
Like, it was a no contest winner.
I knew immediately, but there was a lot. I'd say a lot. There was like 3 other ones that I enjoyed, but this one took the cake. This one has stood with me ever since we covered this cartoon. And
Okay.
Andrew, it's the theme song to Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
That's mine. That's mine,
it's
man.
The best.
It stays with you forever.
Up on the Mesa.
I can't tell you how many times I wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning and I sing to myself. It's weird. I'll sing a little song, a little tune. And a lot of mornings, I'll just be like, Comet raised a mesa to the western. And you're like, fuck, Cowboy Cows of Moo Mesa, you've done it again.
It's so great.
But it's actually a good song.
That's what,
as far as animated series go.
That's what you get when you actually get professional singers. Like, they hired we talked about this. They hired professional
real country music artists, some that had worked under Dolly Parton, if I'm not mistaken.
Like, it was great. It's fantastic. There was a couple of them that I just kind of wanted to mention. Since this is just a look back on everything we've done. The Pole Position theme song.
Pole Position is a good one.
That was a good one.
Tailspin was a close one for me.
Tailspin was another good one.
Because I think that's my only 10 from these past 100.
Did you give that one a 10?
I believe I gave that one a 10 out of 10. But Cowboy Cows of Moo Mesa just sticks with you. So that's why it won out.
I remember I gave Cowboy of Moo Mesa a 9. I haven't given anything a 10.
Yeah, you have yet to give one a 10. I gave Tailspin a 10.
But Moo Mesa, that was up there for me. I also, I felt like I couldn't put it into this category because it's the full version of the theme song, but the full version of the Biker Mice for Mars theme song.
You have any idea how long I've been trying to find that on Spotify? I like that one so much. The only reason that one's not the number 1 theme song is because it's not truly the theme song.
Exactly, but that song is a banger. And
that song is fire.
It is.
I've played that for my friends who are musicians, and they're like, this is for a child's cartoon? I'm like, it's even more separated from the child's cartoon. This is a bigger cover of that song.
For some reason, the studio or the studio that did the cartoon was just like, let's release a full-length album.
Yeah.
But that song is amazing. And there was one song that it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's up there with Moo Mesa as far as the quality, but it's a song that will get stuck in your head and you'll have it in there for weeks at a time. And it's awful. It's terrible.
What is it?
It's going to be in your head the moment I tell you, Andrew, and you're welcome for it. It's Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Yeah. Denver the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. I believe I made a joke about that song makes it really sound like they're having sex with Denver the dinosaur.
Oh.
There's that chestnut again.
Yeah.
For anybody who forgot that when we talked about Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Also, good thing about this 100th episode, everything we talk about, you can go back and listen to it. Because we've already covered it.
The Ewoks theme song, that one was a catchy one.
Yeah. Which one? Walks. Yeah, that just God. Somebody wasn't Quaaludes when they wrote that song for
it's
sure.
It's so bad, but it's infectious, man. But yeah,
before we get to our top 5, I want to ask you one more thing. Out of all of our junkyard brawls, which one do you think is your favorite?
Oh man, I really did like the Godzilla and King Kong.
Yeah, the first one was the best because it was around the time of the movie and everything.
That, and it was so great because we was able to go back and watch, because each one of those had a cartoon that came out in the 90s and also a cartoon that like came out in the 60s. And like I think like King Kong was like early 60s.
Yeah, it was like the 50s.
Yeah, so like
late 50s.
It was just interesting to see how they portrayed each of those characters from like different, generations.
I enjoyed the fuck you history of the Ghostbusters versus the new Ghostbusters.
Okay, yeah.
Junkyard Brawl we did because those two were so interconnected as to why they exist.
Yeah, just so at each other's throats about it, basically.
Like, it's like, what if we just say, no, it was the real Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the real Ghostbusters and the Ghostbusters. Like, those two are just like, they both exist to like try to screw the other one over.
Yeah.
That one, the history on that one was just very interesting to see, like, how hard the guy who created this, was it a British show?
No, it was
the Ghostbusters.
I don't. Yeah, no, because it was a cartoon based off of a live action show.
Yeah,
and I believe the live action.
It's like that guy came out way before the Ghostbusters, but
yeah,
if you haven't listened to that one, it's like spooky season almost. Give that one a whirl.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
But so let's get into this top 5. One, I guess, would be the best of our top 5. And number 1 would be the worst of our worst 5. So, Joel, why don't you go ahead and hit me with your number 5 of the top 5.
Okay, so I'll go and tell you on all of my list, basically like the 5 through 2s or the 2 through 5s, they can be interchangeable. Really, those don't have any certain spot. But my number 1 for each of those, I'm dead set that this is the number 1.
That's the best, and this is the worst.
Yeah.
Or most deserving of a reboot, however you want
to. So number 5, the show that I would like to see, or the cartoon I would like to see get a reboot, it's crazy, man. It's the cartoon Dragonflies.
Really?
Yes. And it's just because I remember when we did this and hearing about the story behind Dragonflies, because ultimately it was another Reagan episode there to sell toys to kids.
Yeah, the girl version of what were they called? God, it's gonna kill me.
I can't remember the girl version, but it was the little like Sky Dancers.
That's right. What it was. Sky Dancers.
But I just remember like the people who created the story behind this stupid toy, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Like the story to me was like whimsical and like fantasy heavy, and I would love to see them take that setting, take that story and plot without the goal of selling toys, and actually just write like a solid cartoon around it.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I mean, is that House of Dragons in a way?
Kind of.
Who knows?
Yeah,
no, because they're in the future.
They are, but it's they ride dragons, but it's almost if I recall, it's basically the world has erupted on itself, like volcanoes, lava.
That's
like
right. There was a mega volcano.
Yeah, like the surface level of the earth is just uninhabitable. So they've like moved to the skies, and it's like humans and like a reptilian race that are like fighting wars on the back of dragons. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. So that's my out of left field. I would love to see a reboot for this cartoon. just based off of the story alone. Don't try to make toys for it.
Okay.
Please don't, because you will ruin ruin it at that point.
It's well, those toys are like magnets for the fireplace.
Have you ever seen?
I think I mentioned that in the episode.
The Vine.
That there's that video on YouTube where the girl gets the Sky Dancer, launches it for the first time at Christmas Day, falls into the fire pit, and they're like, "Oh no!" Just like that's so. If you don't want to fuel your fireplace, don't make it. Well,
that's just science at that point, because fires just breathe in the air. So of course, anything that's flying is just going to go right into the fireplace.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5, Andrew. What's your number 5 that you would like to see a reboot for?
So my number 5 is a little bit of a fan service to myself, because it was the second episode of Cartoon Dumpster
Oh,
Dive.
boy.
Don't listen to it because the audio is horrible, or do. But Road Rovers, I would really like them to see a reboot. And I actually want to go into the opposite direction of what you just said. I want to see the toy line, because they had one ready to go and they never did it.
That blew my mind about that show, because that was Warner Brothers. They sunk a ton of money into that show and had a toy line, but they just never pulled the plug on it for whatever reason.
Yeah, they never greenlit it. They had it all ready to go, and it just never happened. And you got the reboot of the Animaniacs going around, and that was around that time.
Yep.
And I just really think. Plus, people love dogs more than ever nowadays. It's odd that there's not really much of a dog-based superhero thing.
Oh yeah, no, it
really.
Honestly, I think if they was to, that's a good one, because I think if they was to reboot that one, and if the main purpose was to sell merchandise, nowadays people would eat that shit up.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, because like you said, you can't go online without finding like a photo dump of 1,000 different dog pictures or cat pictures.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Myself included.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was my number 5. I think Road Rovers deserves a reboot, if anything, just to see the toy line that they come up with. Who wouldn't want a dog spaceship shaped like a English bulldog?
Yep.
So Joel, how I want to do this is we'll go our 5 of the top, and then now we're going to move to our 5 of the worst.
Okay.
So what is the least worst of your worst 5?
The least worst. Okay, so this is, like I said, my 5 through 2 or my 2 through 5 on both sides. Really, there's no certain order. It's just the number ones, or like the ones that
definitive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So this one, I might get a lot of flack for this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Street Sharks.
Really? Wow. I get
and
it.
And it's
people talk up Street Sharks way too much for when you go back to it and you're like, this is nothing.
Dude, I was one of them. I held Street Sharks in a very soft spot inside of my brain, and my heart. But going back and watching it, it is just a blatant ripoff of TMNT, and it is just definition of a Reagan show. They are just trying to force feed you product, and the story's honestly, the story's not even that great, in my opinion.
No,
it's a one-dimensional story. I don't think they should ever touch this product again.
You can use this show as an example as to why so many people in our age demographic are leaning towards a communist mentality. Well, I mean, this isn't a political show, so we're not going to get into that aspect. But if they're just like, if you had a communist friend and they're like, why are you so against capitalism? And they were like, have you actually gone back and rewatched Street Sharks? And then, I could see that as like an example they would use, because that show is just bashing you over the head with product after product after product.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gross to rewatch it.
It's
because like shows that are just blatant commercials and like, okay, they can't make, obviously this is like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the best at selling you a bunch of toys, but we don't have the rights to them. So we got to make this like, it's like even worse because they're like removed from popularity. So it's worse.
Yeah, but to me, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because they was like the first, it was new. Like even, they've got a new series out that's good. Like I think in the new series of the new comic, Shredder is now, spoiler alert guys, Shredder is now their Splinter, like teaching the Turtles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw that. Like I read an article talking about that. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. You're talking about...
Yeah, that's a cool twist.
Yeah, so I mean, those still finding ways to have a very engaging story and a very good story. Well, we've talked about many of these TMNT clones, and it's just...
I would argue that Street Sharks is still the worst because of how much in the first episode they like kind of throw shade on the turtles.
Yeah.
Like they're like they don't like pizza.
No.
They like audibly show disgust for
pizza. Yeah,
because
it was like, should we go get some pizza? Ew, gross.
And they're like, ugh, dude, I don't want pizza. I want burgers and shakes.
Dude, it's like I said, I know I'll get a lot of hate for this, but it's just, if you're one of those people,
I agree with you,
go
though.
back and watch
do.
it. It does not need to be rebooted, please. But that's my number 5 for it should remain in the dump or remain in the trash, Andrew.
I hear you.
What's your number 5?
So my number 5 is another fan service to me.
Okay. So how is this a fan service to you exactly?
You'll get it in a minute. So this is the only show I did not find to watch before we recorded the episode.
I know the one. I know.
So my number 5 worst is Sea Bear and Jamal. And literally, I couldn't find it before record time. And so I was like, fuck. Oh my God, how am I going to talk about something I haven't watched? And then like the day after we recorded, I finally found it. And I was so mad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I also found it in, I think, Russian. And so I watched a few of that before we recorded. So I was like, I have no idea what they're saying. And I don't know about the songs. But after going back and watching it, it's such a weird show. It's not that bad, but it's definitely like Tone Lock doesn't need to make another animated series.
No, I honestly, I think because you remember the purpose of that show was they was trying to kind of make a all black show for like black kids, and I think the Proud Family did that. I think the Proud Family did what that show wanted to do, but did it in such a better way. Honestly.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
So I mean, I agree with you. This show doesn't need a reboot at all.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 100%. So let's move on from Sea Bear and Jamal to our number 4 of our top 5.
All right.
So Joel, what is your number 4?
So my number 4, Andrew, is actually Hysteria.
Okay.
Yep. So
That's interesting. I didn't think anybody was going to pick that one.
and the only reason is because I love what they was trying to do with that about just kind of teach history, because I always loved those segments in Animaniacs.
Yeah.
But I think, because we talked about it in the episode, they was just getting so much push from the higher ups to the point where they almost had to just turn out garbage. They had to meet education standards, all of this, that I think nowadays with with people wanting to learn more about history and the actual true history, that you could make it might not be targeted for children, maybe make it more teen targeted.
Give it a more adult
Yeah,
feel.
but I think
I could see
But I
that.
think you could really, really make a very good hysteria show nowadays.
I could see that. Yeah. Wow. 2 Warner Brothers animated series that we want to reboot for at a time when Warner Brothers wants to do nothing with animation.
Now let's hope that changes. Let's hope someone high up
Doesn't sound like it.
listens to this podcast and he's like, they've got a point.
My God, those losers have a
Oh
point.
my God, though.
Becky. Greenlight every single animated show and by God, reboot Hysteria.
Do it now. And find out what this Road Rovers was.
They don't even know. I will say in the Animaniacs reboot, they mention one of my worst 5 and not Road Rovers. Like, that's how forgotten Road Rovers is. They don't even know they did it.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about it, they redid Animaniacs because people loved it, but even in the new Animaniacs, they still have these puns, this humor around history.
Yeah.
Around the past. So I think they could still do Hysteria. Maybe not, don't do the rapping.
Yeah. Probably not.
Learn your lesson. Don't do the rapping.
Or hire a rap artist.
An actual rapper.
to do your rapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's my number 4, Hysteria.
Okay. It's a good one.
What's your number 4, Andrew?
Count Duckula.
Oh, that's a good one.
First of all, Netflix has already rebooted Danger Mouse.
Yep.
So it only makes sense that their spinoff is on the way. And Count Duckula is in Danger Mouse in the reboot. So it wouldn't take much time to just do it again.
No, it wouldn't.
Do you make him vegan again?
Oh, that would be
goth culture is back on the rise, or it's more popular than it's ever been.
Yep.
And so
veganism.
This just seems
It seems like half the waters are vegan nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just definitely seems like a no-brainer to do Count Duckula just the way that it was.
Oh yeah. I agree that I think, and honestly, we might see Netflix do that because Netflix is not afraid to kind of branch out when it comes to their animation.
Oh yeah,
and I'm thankful for that.
Netflix will do anything to make you forget that they're trying to do commercials. But yeah, that's my number 4. I mean, like, granted that Count Duckula was made in the 70s and it's not animated great, but now in 2022. Even Danger Mouse, the reboot, like, it was animated well.
Yeah. And
so you could do the same thing. Just have a really well animated Count Duckula spinoff for the same series. And I think it would go over great.
I mean, you got to think, chances are the Danger Mouse that Netflix made is targeted towards a younger audience. Those kids probably know nothing about the old Danger Mouse.
Yeah, exactly.
They think it's just something new. So, hey. Yeah.
So why not?
Exactly.
But okay, I guess it's now on to our number 4 of our worst 5.
Yes, so my number 4 of the cartoons that need to stay in the trash. Andrew, I remember you liking this show. So, you know,
Okay.
if we got to fight over this, then so be it.
All
But
right.
it's Fat Dog Mendoza.
Okay, I get it. I do. I love Fat Dog Mendoza. Does it deserve a reboot?
No.
No. It needs to just stay where it is in time. That weird time we were turning adult properties into child's television programming.
Yeah.
That's where Fat Dog Mendoza needs to stay.
Yeah.
With Rambo and RoboCop and all the other weird things that they're like, this is rated R, but we could probably sell this to children.
Yeah, I feel like if there should be any reboot of Fat Dog Mendoza, it should just be in the comic book form again. That's it.
Bring it back in the comic for sure. That would be cool.
That will be fine.
But yes, Fat Dog Mendoza is a very creepy looking design.
It's what the Frankenstein syndrome, right? Is that
I don't know.
No. What's that one thing where like you don't like to see a human face on something?
Oh, Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we don't need to see another one of that. It's just it's painful to watch Fat Dog Mendoza for that reason and a lot of other reasons. So let it stay there. Don't touch it.
Let it stay dead.
Maybe bring the comic book back because that's the comic book. You'll buy that if you want it.
That's true. I've never actually read the comic, so I'd like to see what it's all about.
Yep.
But I would definitely read a rebooted comic of it, I guess.
Yeah, I would never watch a show. But that's my my number 4 is Fat Dog Mendoza.
All right. My number 4 is a bit of a low-hanging fruit, but it's Lunatics Unleashed.
Ugh. Yeah.
This show is kind of in itself a reboot.
Yeah.
Or an edgy reimagining that nobody really asked for.
No one asked for it. No one.
This was before the superhero boom, really. We had Justice League animated back then, but we weren't into superheroes the way that we are now. And we damn sure weren't into Looney Tunes that badly to see this weird super-powered reboot. I do remember when I posted how much I didn't like this show on Twitter. There are people who have made the Lunatics their personas.
Oh.
And they kind of jumped down my throat.
I mean, look, what?
They were like, we're not a mistake. I'm like, yeah. But also, I don't want to talk too badly about this show because this show is already a joke to Warner Brothers about how bad it is. So it's like, they know they fucked up. I know they fucked up. So at this point, it's like it's mean-spirited to make fun of
Watch
them.
that be like Warner Brothers with this merge with Discovery or whatever it is, whatever's going on while they are taking away all these animated shows. Watch that be the one remaining show on their streaming service. They actually go back and put it on.
Oh, that's the one that, so they get rid of Infinity Train and like all the good stuff, and they're like, here's Lunatics Unleashed, you fucking peasants.
Like watch that be the one show that remains on all those streaming platforms. That would be terrible.
I could see that. But yeah, Lunatics Unleashed was the edgy reboot no one asked for, and it should stay in the trash where it belongs. Yep. And WB should honestly stop bringing it up. Because it's like, it's kind of like when you... It's like when you do something super embarrassing and then you try to bring it up, but you're like, wasn't I an idiot? And they're like, well, you still had your dick in that sandwich, though. You're still weird. You should probably stop bringing that up so people will forget you did it.
You know what that makes me think of, Andrew? You remember that? You remember that episode of The Office where Michael falls into the koi pond? And Jim tells...
He tries to make fun of himself.
He takes it too far and he starts talking about how he went to the cell phone store and they asked him like for 5 friends to put in his friend plan. And he was just like, he's like, I couldn't even think of anybody. I don't even have Jan's number and I hate her. And then he starts crying.
Too far. Yeah, great idea, Jim. Yeah, I do remember that now. That was funny.
Yep.
That's kind of what I feel Lunatics Unleashed is.
Yeah.
But that was my worst 4.
Yeah.
So let's hear your top 3.
All right. So my top 3 is something we covered here recently that this show, it really should get a reboot. Mighty Max.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's,
especially with how it ended.
With how it ended, but it...
Big cliffhanger.
It's kind of the same thing with like Dragonflies. The story was just so fantastic that I feel like if you approached it with just the plot and the story and said, hey, we are not going to try to sell toys. We just want to make a great cartoon. Bam. There you go. I think this would be excellent.
I can see that.
I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean,
Mighty Max was fun. There was a lot to it that was interesting. Yep. I think they designed the character before the story, thus explaining his ancient Egyptian baseball cap.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I could see it being a reboot. I could see enough people remembering Mighty Max and, like, it wasn't that terribly animated of a show. So I could definitely see people like going, I would want to go back to this to see, like, I remember it not ending as a kid. So let's see how it ends.
And I think especially nowadays, you could approach it. You could say, hey, the really lame stuff like the ancient Egyptian baseball cap, let's leave that out. Let's make it something else.
Honestly, keep it in. It's the only really weird part about it. In the confines of its story, at least, that's the only odd thing.
You could just make him look the same, make him wear a red hat as a throwback, but like say he finds a like ancient Egyptian scepter or something, like something they had back in those days. Like something that would make sense.
Or maybe it takes the form of what makes you most comfortable. So it's an Egyptian hat, but then it turns to a baseball cap on his head.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Whatever you want. But I feel like they had a solid story, even with some of the villains in it, that it would just be great to kind of come back.
I absolutely
and plus,
agree.
I mean, you could still get Tim Curry to do the voice.
I don't know.
You don't think
he's not doing so hot lately? Nah, he had like a few strokes several years ago. He ain't doing too
well.
great.
That's why they should hurry up and remake it then.
There you go. Finger on the button.
Yep. So what's your number 3, Andrew?
So my number 3 is Tailspin.
Okay. Huh.
So it's a number 3 because they mentioned Tailspin in the DuckTales reboot, the 2017 one. And that show wrapped up, I believe, a year or so ago. And I feel like you could do... Well, you couldn't exactly do a 1950s feel like the show. So, let's see. Kit was maybe in his 30s or 40s in the DuckTales reboot when you meet him where they go to Cape Suzette. So that would make this like a 70s style show.
Okay, that would be cool.
And that would be neat. You could still, it wouldn't be exactly the same, but I do love... There aren't a lot of shows cartoons for, I guess, kids that are also period pieces. That's more of like an adult thing. But I feel like Tailspin is like one of those rare, like, this was the 50s, and it wasn't weird to anybody that it was the 50s. Like, it was just a really cool aesthetic, and I think you can do that again, maybe with the 70s. You could probably do the 60s if you really wanted to.
No, I agree with you.
But
it's that would be a really good reboot. And who knows? I mean, Disney, they've been rebooting everything of theirs.
yeah, if we can get 100 million live action reboots of animated movies, we can get another Tailspin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Or even,
it's weird because so they rebooted. They showed the Little Mermaid.
I saw
trailer,
that. Yep.
And everybody, you know, I don't know how to put this politely, but racists really show their true colors.
Oh, like
when a white character ends up being black in a live action reboot. But
look,
like people are like, are you excited about the new Little Mermaid? I'm like, no, not really. I kind of find a lot of the live action movies to be like a slap in the face because they can't think of anything new. Has nothing to do with casting choices or anything like that. It feels like what Disney does best. It takes advantage of millennial nostalgia.
Dude, I am over here
to make a profit, and
I
felt like that with like same with a Beauty and the Beast. They're just like they'll make like a tweak, and this probably isn't like what they're doing more or less, but they'll make like a tweak to it so it'll drum up some news, and then people will go see it, and they'll either rant and rave about how negative it is because a gay person is in Beauty and the Beast for like 2.5 seconds, or they got a black Ariel, but really it's just like you're still giving them your money for a movie you already saw when you were a child, other than the fact that they're people now rather than cartoons.
Yeah. And I'm
it's another reason I hate the live action ones, because people who like to bitch about this stuff, it's like they think Disney's going to break into their house and steal their copy of The Little Mermaid so they can never watch it again. Just because they remake something that you cherished as a kid doesn't mean it goes away forever. Just don't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I can say I have not watched a single live action Disney movie. And, you know,
I tried watching Aladdin, and then halfway through it, I was talking to my girlfriend, now wife. I was like, I feel like I've seen this movie. Because it was the exact same movie.
Yeah, I think it's very unoriginal what Disney is doing. And, you know, I am a big stickler. I was talking to my brother-in-law today, and we were talking about, I don't know if you saw where Henry Cavill has just signed to the Marvel Universe. And I think he's supposed to play, the Silver Surfer?
Oh, really?
That's what he said. He said Henry Cavill is supposed to play the Silver Surfer. And I guess I get hung up on these, like, small things, because my first thing was he needs to, like, slim down then.
Oh, yeah, to be the Silver
because
Surfer.
Silver Surfer
needs a swimmer's body.
Silver
really.
Surfer was never, like, built. He was thin, lean. He, you know, I guess you could say he was defined, but he's not like, you know, Thor built.
Yeah,
and
I feel
like
you.
that, like, I complain about small stuff like that. And my big thing about the live action Disney movies is the old animated movies were all about the music, was about the songs.
Right.
So if you're going to get a live action movie and a live action actor, you need to get someone who can sing. I'm sorry, Emma Watson, Beauty and the Beast, she cannot sing. There was probably
I think the girl who's playing Ariel
no, she can
sing. I think she has at least
No,
that
she can.
going for her,
Haley Bailey, I think is her name, something like that. She got
Yeah.
famous because her and her like twin sister started recording music on YouTube and putting them up there. Like that girl
Okay.
can sing, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, look, you want to you want to get someone of a different race who play this character. You want to do whatever you want, as long as this person can sing and make the song good. That's all I care about, because truthfully, that's why I watch those movies, was for the music. That's it.
But so sidetracks
Big
aside,
sidetrack.
my number 3 was Tailspin. I believe you could make a reboot happen.
Make it happen, Disney.
Yeah, make it happen, Disney. You got the money.
Yeah.
So I guess now we're gonna move on to our worst 3.
Yep. So my number 3.
What is your worst 3?
Oh man, it's the cartoon Wish Kid.
I forgot. I completely forgot we did that.
That show.
That was one of our first requests from the. Oh, they used to cover "Are You Afraid of the Dark?" Now they cover Goosebumps.
Yeah, like that show is awful. It's so awful that I remember I reached out to the actual guy who had credits for creating it. I think it was, his name is Jeffrey Scott, and I asked him if he had any insight about what inspired him to make this. No idea, no remembrance of this show.
Oh yeah, I do remember that we talked to him a little bit. We didn't interview him. We didn't have that kind of confidence.
Yeah, I just shot him an email, and he was just like, I remember I went back and reread this email recently, and it's just like, sorry, I don't really remember this cartoon very well. And I'm like, okay, that just goes to show you
you made
the amount of, I guess, love and passion that went into writing this piece of garbage. And it really was just a studio way of trying to cash in on Macaulay Culkin and Home Alone money. They was just trying to cash into that, and it's just that's never going to lead to anything good. So that's my number 3. Straight and simple. Wish Kid. Leave it where it's at.
Yeah, that's true. That's because I mean, Macaulay Culkin wouldn't want to do it anyway.
It's a bad show too.
Yeah, it is also very bad. So for my number 3, I can honestly put all 3 of these into my third category.
Okay.
But Sonic Underground takes the cake when it comes to the worst Sonic animated series that Deke ever produced.
It's funny.
Now, when we covered this, we did all 3 Deke's shows all at once. And my takeaway from it is I actually enjoyed The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog more than Sonic Sat AM because it was funnier.
Yep.
But this one is just absolutely bad. It is an exceptionally awful show. The characters are disproportionate most of the time. We talked about it in, I believe, the episode, but this series had Knuckles in it, and it is one of the strangest occurrences of all time. Everything is animated so badly.
Yeah. It didn't make sense.
Sonic's got a princess sister and a thief brother. They reuse animation constantly, even for a Deke animated show. It is bad.
It is bad. No, I agree with you. If there was, out of those Deke Sonic ones, that one is the one that everyone needs to forget. it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
I almost feel like they had a completely separate story and they just wanted to pluck a recognizable figure and drop it into that story.
You may be right.
And they was just like, well, we made these other Sonic shows and we still got his license. Let's just do that.
Let's just fart out one more before the contract lapses.
It makes no sense.
That's what I feel like the Sonic Underground was.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you, man. Keep that one in the trash, please.
Oh, yeah. Still got that DVD, though.
The one that we bought from a buy-low when we was like 18.
Yeah. It was like 99 cents for 3 episodes of Sonic Underground. Still got it.
It's still bad.
Yeah, still got it, and it's still bad. So, Joel, let's hit me,
hit me,
or hit you with your number 2.
So this one is kind of a fan service one for me, Andrew. It's SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron.
Okay,
I mean
it's the last Hanna-Barbera licensed cartoon. The background of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which we did not mention in our episode. But yeah, that any updates on that reboot happening? Because I know the creator was shooting for it.
Yeah, I know they had a Kickstarter, a GoFundMe to happen, but I think that's just kind of fizzled out, honestly.
Yeah. Not enough support from the furry community, huh?
I guess not.
I guess they don't have a lot of money. They put it all into their suits.
Yeah. It's...
Because have you ever seen that TikTok? I'm sorry I keep interrupting you, but have you seen that TikTok where they that guy goes and asks them how much their suits cost, and the cheapest one was $2,000?
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's an expensive-ass hobby, man.
So I just Googled it because I haven't actually looked at this. And, the most recent update was, I would say I found some stuff like pledging for it just a couple of months ago. I think they've got some money for it. Now they're just trying to raise even more and find a studio that's willing to take it.
Okay.
But this is one of those shows. This is a show you can still go back, watch the old SWAT Cats, and it's still good. I mean, it holds it's animated up well. It's great. It awakened furries all over the place. I mean, why not bring it back? Let's get...
Yeah, why not? Why not awaken a new generation?
A new generation of furries, but...
Or furries.
I know, right? I mean, this... I would love to see a SWAT Cat reboot, and I hope the Tremblay brothers, who are, the people that made the original one, I hope they can get enough funding. I hope they can find a studio that's willing to take their reboot, and we can see more SWAT Cats.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So for my number 2, the only reason this is my number 2 and not my number 1 is because it technically got kind of a nice ending, but not really. Megas XLR.
Ooh.
There is nothing in this world I would love to see more than them to bring back Coop and Jamie and the Megas.
Yep.
Really, I'd love to see a live action version of it, but I don't think that would ever happen.
No, I honestly love Megas XLR, and
it's such a good show.
I was thinking about putting that one on my list, but I tried to kind of stick with, if I thought to myself, can I go back and watch this series to this day and still enjoy it? Then I kind of said, hey, I'm okay with that not getting a reboot because
Okay,
yeah, because
I
this
feel
is
ya.
one that it'll. I feel like it will hold up for the next 30 years for me.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, absolutely. It's
but it is one that
just the from the jokes, the on screen jokes, along with the the jokes from their just dialogue. It's such a good show. I would love to see. I just want to see more of it.
yeah.
Like, I'm not happy with the amount of episodes I have. I want
I agree.
more.
Honestly, they could, because I can't remember how that show ended, but I remember it kind of wrapped up pretty nicely, correct?
Evil Coop attacks from another dimension, and it's the evil squid guys. I don't remember their names, but they have to team up against Evil Coop, and they end up defeating him, and they go to shake hands, and Coop trips, piloting the Magus trips, and runs into the leader. And then it like destroys like at least 10 or 15 other robots. And he goes, and the leader's like, I can't believe I almost shook your Earther hand. Why would I ever think you were competent enough to be my ally?
Honestly, I think if they did a reboot, you wouldn't even need to start back from the beginning. You could almost just do a continuation of Megas XLR, and it would still be fantastic. Yeah, but I would love to see a Megas XLR reboot. I'm right there with you, Andrew. That show is fantastic.
So now we are on to our worst number 2.
Yes.
So Joel, hit me with your number 2.
This might shock you, Andrew. It might shock a lot of people who, if they've been around since the beginning. But my number 2. Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century.
No way. Really? Episode number 1.
It kind of goes back to the Street Sharks thing is I watched this again and I'm just like, no.
And you're like, what the
Look, Sherlock
fuck?
Holmes does not belong in the 22nd century. I could...
Also, a little fun fact about that movie: we thought a century was 1,000 years when we started that show because we're from the Southern educational system. Okay, don't expect a lot out of us.
But that show,
if you ever came here for intelligent conversation, listener, no,
that show is just. I mean, it was one of Deke's last cartoons they made because that came out.
Yeah, that had CGI. It had CGI in it too, right?
It was just it's terrible, and the story. All it was they took Sherlock Holmes stories and they was just like, how can we make these more futuristics?
Yeah, they just gave it a cyberpunk.
It was
finish.
just
not even the fact that that's what made you fall in love with your wife, that she remembers that show too. It didn't even stand up to that. It's still aged poorly.
Only fond thing about that show, to me, is that theme song. And I would not want to watch a whole nother series just to hear that theme song again. So keep that in the past. I'll just, sing the theme song every now and then, but that's it. I don't want a reboot of it, man.
We got to mention both 1 and 2.
Yeah, we did.
So I'm cool with it. So for my number 2, I picked Mutant League.
Ooh, okay.
'Cause Mutant League is... God, I hate everything about it. The announcer is so loud. They're doing too many sports. It should have just been football.
Yeah.
1. That makes more sense. 2, I hate the plot. I hate everything about it. It's like the nuclear apocalypse happens in a football field and then they all decide to play football. That wouldn't happen. I hate how that one guy who's the skeleton he's like way too dramatic versus everyone else in the show because he's got to find his dad or whatever.
Yep.
And it's just so much about this show is bullshit.
Dude, I rather have them reboot. If it's going to be some cartoon we've talked about sports, either reboot Pro Stars and get modern day athletes.
I was about to say, would you want Bo Jackson?
No.
And,
Michael Jordan, no. I would say
Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky to come back.
You could do modern day athletes or just go way back and reboot Animal Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Get another Rise of the Furries.
Get the furries to be better. If anything, bring Mutant League back as a game,
which they did.
Because
you remember?
Yeah, and it was like very bad.
They could just take. You remember the original NFL Blitz? You could just take the premise of that football game, remake it with updated graphics, and just make everything look like monsters and mutants. There you go. That was your Mutant League. Everybody wins.
Yeah, I'm just like, even when I was watching it, I didn't want to watch a lot of them because the show just got on my nerves. Like, you'd have these, like, silly little antics on the football field or swimming or whatever the hell they were doing. And then, like, the skeleton guy would be like, I gotta find my dad. Like, shut up.
I gotta find my dad.
I gotta find my dad.
Where's my paw?
So, I don't want to do a number one just yet.
No, we can't. We can't. Not yet.
But do you want to do... So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a runner-up for the top 5. Then we'll do our number 1 worst. And then we'll do the number 1 top.
I like it. I like it.
So what is your pick for the most deserving of a reboot, but it didn't quite make your top 5?
So... it was actually a movie, and that's the only reason I didn't put it in this list, was a movie that we covered, and it's the movie Rock and Rule.
Okay.
And it's because I love what they was going for. They was going for like a rock opera in a cartoon setting or format. Which, is basically, imagine a Disney movie, but, instead of this whimsical singing, it's just like a rock opera. So it's like, like, it's more adult friendly, I guess.
Yeah, I do.
Basically Metalocalypse. It was Metalocalypse before Metalocalypse, but I would love to see them maybe
make a profit.
Yes, at least make a profit. But I think underlying, I think they had an interesting story. It's just with, them almost going bankrupt, all this stuff. Just not cut corners. Just make it better. Just make it better.
Yeah, make it good. I feel you.
But that was my one that I was just like, man, I would love to see something like this. I guess the closest thing we'll get was the Metalocalypse movie that they had.
Yeah, they're making another one. They made one. Now they're making
which
another
I am
one.
so happy for because I miss Metalocalypse, man.
I do too.
What's your, I guess, honorable mention or didn't quite cut it into the 5, Andrew?
Pirates of the Dark Water. They should have at least have been able to find all 13. I feel like it's a disservice. I may not have liked it when I was rewatching it. I still believe that if a series, you have to find all the number of objects before you're allowed to cancel it. I don't know. It always bothered me. I wanted to come back because they found 6, I believe. So they got about halfway there. So
yeah, no,
just it deserves it just based off of let them find their shit.
Just get it
and be done
just
with
get
it.
the last one. Come on, guys.
Because it's just such a. You're just like, they didn't find all 13, and the series ended, and no resolution of conflict ever. You just have to sit with that forever.
I gotcha.
And you're like, fuck.
And, honestly, it wasn't a bad story.
It wasn't the worst.
It wasn't like the story was pretty good. I like what they was doing with it, but it's just, it came out during a time where if you wasn't trying to force feed selling a product or merchandise to children.
They had action figures, but they were just like your drunk uncle buys them at a pharmacy action
but
figures.
I feel like normally cartoons that the pharmacy toy lines, those were cartoons that was maybe trying to focus more on the story than selling merchandise. But I wouldn't mind seeing a Pirates of the Dark Water reboot.
Finish the fight. That's all I'm saying.
Just find them. You could just do a 13 miniseries where like maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes per episode. In each episode, they find at least one. So that way you get your closure.
Yeah, that's all I want.
I just want to see them get all 13.
Yeah, I just want to see how the goop goes away. Is that so hard to ask?
How do we get rid of this goop? Ivan Ooze is how you get rid of the goop.
I feel like he'd make more goop.
He would.
It's all right, Joel.
All right.
Here it is. This is the number one worst. Out of all the things that we've covered, over 100 things, this is what you consider to be our worst one. Can I take a guess?
Oh yeah, you will probably guess it. It's Reboot, Andrew.
I knew it.
Which I guess this is cheating.
I'm a big Reboot defender myself.
Well, I guess this is cheating because they've already rebooted Reboot.
Yeah, but it's an even shittier movie.
It is, but
so it's like we didn't think you could go any lower than the bottom of the barrel, and now they're scooping up dirt.
And maybe that's another ammunition for me or fuel for my fire. Is hey, they've tried it once, didn't work out. I don't think they can do it again. I think because I know Reboot has a following, people love it. I am not.
It has an audience.
I am not one of them.
Obviously,
I can.
I view it as it is of its time. The people who wrote it didn't know a lot about computers, I think. I know it was one of our most requested things they ever wanted us to cover. Which I believe that's why we made it our 50th.
Correct. Yep.
So, but it did not age well.
It did not. The animation, I mean, it's early animation, like CGI, so of course it's not going to hold up. But even like, because I started thinking about it, and I started asking myself, do I think that they could go back today, almost just take the same story of Reboot and make it into a cartoon today and it be enjoyable? But I don't think they could. And I think it's just because, like you said, it's a product of its time. Back then, video games were still early. This whole idea of a World Wide Web where you're playing with other people, playing video games with other people and shit like that, that was a thing of fantasy. But that's all video games are now. So I feel like
that's all. Yeah.
I feel like really what would happen if they really tried to make a reboot today, you're gonna see them visiting games like Call of Duty and all this other
you'd have the Emoji Movie or Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph breaks the internet.
You would just have
a shitty
a
time.
cartoon.
That's what
a cartoon that is just trying to sell video games. That's it. So
yeah, sell you video games or some sort of software. The Emoji Movie literally tries to sell you a firewall software in the movie.
I mean,
I mean, there's no way to do a movie like that. I mean, they didn't really kill it when they made Reboot in the first place, but there something like that just can't happen now.
No, it can't. But that's my number one, Andrew. Reboot. I've never been a fan of it. I still don't think it would make sense nowadays. People who like it, you like it, but you've got terrible taste in cartoons. So,
boom, you heard it here. Not first, but you've heard it here again. So for my number one, it's Battletoads.
Yeah.
Just such a bad execution.
I think
not only are you just trying to rip off Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you make a game first, and that kills it. And you could have left it alone right there. You could have just been like, all right, our game is solid. We can just stay there. But then you try to make this cartoon, and you don't know what the flying fuck you're doing when it comes to writing to this thing. So you have like the three kids that are like losers, and then they become toads. And it's just like you watch it and you're like, you definitely can tell why this went nowhere.
Oh yeah,
because it was terrible.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason it only had one episode. Yeah. That's
that they mailed to you on VHS. If I'm not mistaken,
like that's the only way you can get a hold of it now. But the original, if I remember this correctly, because we did Battletoads a while ago. I mean, we've been doing this 2 years now, basically.
Exactly.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the first episode actually aired on TV. I think like the day after Thanksgiving. Or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And it did not have a warm reception. Let me say, let me put it like that.
People called in furious that this show had assaulted them.
What is this garbage? But I mean, the game itself, if I'm not mistaken, the game itself didn't, because of its difficulty, it did not do very well. It just kind of got a small cult following of people who enjoy difficult games. That's it.
Yeah. That really is it. And then you have your, they teamed up with the Double Dragon Kit dudes and they had like a reboot that looked like the DuckTales reboot, but in a game, and it wasn't that fun. And it's the only time we've ever used Twitch was to play that rebooted game.
I remember that.
And we really have that fun.
No,
So, just Battletoads all around. My whole experience with Battletoads in the confines of this show has been bad.
It has not been a fun time.
So, yeah, that was my worst 5.
All right,
Joel. This is it.
The one for all the marbles.
This is our number 1. And I say that as a collective because I'm pretty sure we both agreed unanimously.
I think so. We've
this was the number 1.
If I believe with my heart that, because I feel like we've both have talked about our love for this show, that I believe we have the same.
Yes.
So Andrew, my number.
Anytime we've ever had an interview, this is the one we always say is worth going back to watch.
And my number 1, and I'm sure it's the same as yours, is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs deserves a reboot. 13 episodes of the Xenozoic era comics is
It
not
is
enough.
not. And dude, can I tell you something? You know what network that I feel like this would belong on?
Right. What?
Adult Swim.
Dude, totally. With Primal going as hard as it's going,
Exactly.
I feel like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs would work.
Because if you go back and listen to that episode of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, we actually talked about the comic that it's based off of. And the comic was one of these old school science fiction fantasy comics that was targeted for adults. So it was very creepy and like scary.
Get Hulu to live action the shit out of it, or Netflix, because Amazon and HBO both got Rings of Power and House of Dragons. So they're in fantasy, but this is like, it's not quite cyberpunk, but it's not quite ancient fantasy. It's just something in the middle that's like rad as fuck that nobody ever talks about. And it's just also, I really enjoy saying the Machinatio Vitae.
The Machinatio Vitae.
Machinatio Vitae.
The Machinatio Vitae.
The Machinatio Vitae.
Follow the Machinatio Vitae. On the Machinatio Vitae.
For the Machinatio Vitae.
The Machinatio Vitae.
So, yes,
they drop
Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is the best.
Dude, I just, if they ever remake it, I just hope they don't say the Machinatio Vitae as many times as they did in that first episode.
I hope they do. I hope they say it at least 20 times an episode.
You know what?
But would you want it to be animated, or would you want it to be live action? Because if I'm honest with you, and I know that the whole cartoons are our whole thing, I would much rather see a live action Cadillacs and Dinosaurs versus an animated counterpart.
So I think if you was I had not thought about that, but now that I think about it, I think you could do a Cadillacs and Dinosaurs live action, but you would have to make it very like gritty and dark.
Yeah.
But it would be,
I mean, the show itself was gritty and dark.
So good.
Yeah, it would be great.
Like you said, every interview we've done, every time people have asked us, like, what's been your favorite cartoon?
We always say Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
And everyone is just like, what?
Yeah. Not only was it like, we found this show on accident.
And
our lives have been better, and we've been obsessed with it ever since.
You know who I think, maybe if we gave them a shout out on Twitter, maybe, just maybe, they can pull their power and get something going on either a live action Cadillacs and Dinosaurs or just a reboot animated version of it. Hell, you could do it in the style of Primal.
Yeah.
On Adult Swim, but Elon Musk.
I don't think just because his company did that game, I don't think
he worked on the second video game for it. He might, who knows, he might have a soft spot for it.
I just don't want to. I don't like Elon Musk. I think he's a bad man. I don't want to sully Cadillacs. Oh, I mean, he's already a part of the history of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, but like, he's a shit dude. So I don't want to ask for his help. That'll taint it.
I feel like that would be the only way that we could ever get this thing rebooted, because he would just have the money to make it happen.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I'm still going to ask him.
Yeah, just like, yo, Elon, how about a reboot on Cadillacs
and Dinosaurs a series?
Come on, man. I know you want to. Hell, knowing him, he would probably call it Tesla and Dinosaurs.
Oh, that would suck.
It would be so bad.
I've got to charge my Tesla.
Oh,
but we're in the future, so it doesn't work or something. Or like guano or dinosaur guano powered generators to charge your Tesla.
I think they would, if it was to be done today, I'm calling it now. that there would be some message about fossil fuels.
Yeah.
You know, that if I'm not mistaken, I think in the comic they had to find another energy source, like another gasoline.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because they used dinosaur
guano.
dookie.
Yeah.
And because that's why their Cadillacs got all those weird tubes on them.
Yeah, but it would be awesome, man. It would be an awesome reboot. I want it. I think I would just be happy for the next 50 years.
I would
if
be
there
too.
was a reboot.
A reboot of any kind. Hell, even a reboot of the comics.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, I think that's our top 5 and our worst 5 of all the episodes we've ever covered.
That's it for our 100th, man.
Do you have any closing words, like anything you've learned over these past 100 episodes?
I've learned so much about Dick Entertainment, way more than I've ever wanted to.
I've learned if you call your show Cartoon Dumpster Dive, creators will be reluctant to come on the show and talk about the cartoons they made.
Yeah. I mean,
I learned that with Angus Oblong and other person I tried to get in contact with. They're like, I don't want to go on your show. I feel like you're just going to make fun of me. I'm like, well, maybe.
Only if
we like some of the stuff we cover.
Yeah, only if your show was really bad. That's the only time.
Yeah.
But
make a better product. How about that? You can make fun of our show. It's like average at best.
I don't understand the Angus Oblong because the Oblongs is great. That's a fantastic show.
We praised his show, and he just was giving me the runaround like a dickhead. So
he had to go to an ICP.
Yeah,
concert.
He had to whoop his way to something a little more important, I guess. But yeah, this has been 100 episodes of Cartoon Dumpster Dive.
Thank you for everyone listening. I mean, it's been fantastic. 2 years of doing this with my best friend.
It has been.
I mean, I know. Well, we're going to take a week off just since this is I guess, the end of our season 4-ish.
Right.
So we're just going to take a week off, but I'm excited to kind of come back and start.
Yeah. We got a good show already picked out. So
it's going to be a fantastic one when we come back. But, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Andrew, for doing this with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, man.
This has been a great experience too. We have talked to some pretty wonderful people. We've interviewed a very interesting caveat of people. We've been on other podcasts that have just, it's been really like kind of touching, especially because I run the social, like all you guys' messages about how much you love the show. How, the one guy who messaged me about like how, he was having something rough with his dad and he was just like, this came at the perfect time. That really tugged at my heartstrings. It's like, we're not out here friggin' saving lives or making the water cleaner or anything. But the fact that like we're bringing like just a tiny bit of joy to honestly a fraction of people outside of our friends who listen, it means a lot. So
it does.
But let's do this outro. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have the $5 tier, stickers, and the access to our Discord. We have a Twitter handle cartoondd. We have an Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all Cartoon Dumpster Dive. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send that to cartoondumpsterdive@gmail.com. And finally, we always appreciate a review, hopefully 5 stars, of the podcasting platform of your choice. And here's to the next 100. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See you.
How'd that sound?
Dude, that
Sound
was
good.
That was great, man.
Really?
Enough like it had the energy, it had the volume that I wanted. Perfect.
All right.
This has been a Lughole podcast.